Please welcome then with a bit of noise with Sean Patrick.
Good evening, Wincanton. Let me hear you say yes.
Yes!
Now then, I've come on stage. You've never seen me before. You don't really know who I am. And I've asked you to do something a little bit foolish. Not that foolish. A little bit embarrassing. What I've done, I've asked you to trust me. And some of you refused. But that's okay, because the rest of you said, all right, Sean, I don't know where you're going with this. Take me with you. let me share the magic. I've put you completely at your ease, and you've allowed yourselves to be convinced. And that's exactly the same technique Hitler used to persuade ordinary people like you to betray their friends and neighbours for no greater crime than being a Jew, a communist, or a homosexual. So those of you who didn't cheer, watch your backs. Some people call me the space cowboy. Some call me the gangster of love. Between you and me, I think they're taking the piss. I know what you're thinking. He looks like he used to be clinically obese. And it's funny you should think that, because I used to be clinically obese. But now I'm on a seahorse diet. When I see horses, I eat them. And I've lost a lot of weight, because horses are actually very difficult to catch. And there aren't many horses in South East London, especially now I've started eating them. What's the difference between catching your neighbours having sex and catching your neighbours having a threesome? My ex-wife. As I now call her my new neighbour. I've actually told my mother that my ex is dead. It seemed to make things simpler somehow. And I thought also, if ever we get back together, what a lovely surprise for both of them. So I'm single now. I know, I'm as surprised as you are. I'll be honest, I'm not very good with women. I never really know what to say to them. Quite often I will see a pretty lady, far too pretty for me, and a voice in my head will say, ask her out, Sean. What have you got to lose? The answer is always the same. Hope. I'll be honest, I don't make it easy for myself. I'm quite choosy about my ladies. I like my women how I like my whiskey. Teachers. Preferably first name Glenn. I'm working on a new chat-up line, which I'd like to practice tonight. Philippa, you'll do. How much does a polar bear weigh? 400 kilos. Will you go out with me? Put it down as a maybe. Lovely to be here. Lovely to be surrounded by so many happy people, because until recently, when show business put these wings on my heels and this smile on my face, I was stuck in an office all day, every day, hanging on the telephone, listening to people whinging, complaining, on and on and on. Always the same at the Samaritans. Only joking, ha ha ha. I was actually a public sector accountant. It's not always as exciting as it sounds. And some people say to me, that's quite a leap, Sean, from public sector accountant to high-octane cabaret entertainer. Simmer down. Don't spoil it for yourself. I say to them, there's actually quite a few transferable skills. For example, in both jobs you spend a lot of time wishing you were dead and hating everyone. The only downside to being an accountant, we do have a reputation of being a bit boring and fuddy-duddy. Are there any other accountants in tonight? Finance professionals? You? You know what it's like to be pitied and despised by your colleagues. Are these your colleagues you're with tonight? It's nice to feel safe sometimes. We have this reputation of being a bit boring and fuddy-duddy. These don't help. These are my reading glasses. Basically the same as my Glastonbury glasses, but much smaller and closer to London. So, we have this reputation of being a bit boring and fuddy-duddy. I remember I was once in the office and I said to a woman, "Can I just borrow your pen quickly?" And she said, "That's a bit boring and fuddy-duddy. Why don't you use an iPad like everyone else?" I said, "They're not as good for an emergency tracheotomy." The people I work with, they were very generous people though. I remember once, one fellow, he went on holiday, he came back. When he came back, he brought us all a big box of Turkish Delight to share. Big box of Turkish Delight. And when we opened the big box of Turkish Delight, inside, Greece had given up all its claims to Cyprus. I'm quite a worrying person. I worry about all sorts of things. I worry about social inequalities in India, where some families are too poor to eat every day, but some tigers can afford Kellogg's breakfast cereals. And I worry about whether Tom Cruise will ever come out as homosexual. Because if he doesn't, such a waste of a surname, isn't it? But I recently went to the doctors because of my worries, and I went to the doctors and I said, I'm feeling very stressed. I said, Doctor, sometimes I think I'm a wigwam, sometimes I think I'm a teepee. And the doctor said, your trouble is you're too tense. And I said, I think I see what you've tried to do there, doctor. But of course the wigwam, actually a semi-permanent dome shelter, isn't it? Probably a 10 to 12. And then he said, I'll deal with you later. I said, that's a different joke. That's the code. After that, he just ignored me, started talking to a woman who thought she was a pair of curtains. True story. Before I go, and I will go, before I go, I'd just like to share with you, if I may, a few sayings or mottos, really, that have got me through some of the tough times in life. First one, quite simply, the immortal words of the great Tupac. Not to be sold separately. The next one is more of a warning, really. A warning, because they say, don't they, if you love someone, let them go. Apparently that doesn't apply to mountaineering accidents. I'll leave you with this one. Single men. There are some single men in the audience. Josh, you're a single man, aren't you? You're exactly the same as me, Josh. Sorry for your loss. Josh, this is a piece of advice that my grandfather gave me when I was a boy, and I'd like to share it with you now. He used to say to me, Sean, women are like buses. Very difficult to get on if you've got a pushchair with you. Thank you for having me.